For centuries, people have said that health is wealth. At first glance, it may seem like just a simple proverb, something repeated by grandparents to remind us to take care of ourselves. But when you really think about it, the phrase carries a profound truth. Without health, both mental and physical, all the money in the world loses its value. Without energy, resilience, and peace of mind, even the greatest achievements feel hollow. And yet, one of the biggest thieves of health is not always poor diet, lack of exercise, or even genetics. One of the most overlooked culprits is mindset. Specifically, scarcity thinking has a destructive impact on the human body and mind, draining energy and robbing us of the very health that sustains life. Scarcity thinking is the belief that there is never enough time, money, opportunities, or even love. It is the mindset that constantly scans for what is missing rather than appreciating what is present. It thrives on fear, comparison, and worry. While this mindset might seem like just an internal dialogue, it doesn't stay confined to the mind. Scarcity thinking leaks into every system of the body, elevating stress, straining the immune system, disrupting sleep, and eroding mental peace. Over time, this chronic stress can make us sick, tired, and disconnected from the very joy of living. To understand how scarcity thinking drains energy, it's important to look at how the body responds to perceived threats. The human nervous system is wired for survival. When the brain detects danger, it activates the fight or flight response. Adrenaline and cortisol flood the body, heart rate quickens, muscles tense, and the body prepares for action. This response is life-saving in genuine emergencies. But when scarcity convinces the brain that we are always under threat, financially, socially, or emotionally, the stress response never turns off. The body remains in a constant state of hypervigilance, burning energy that should be reserved for healing, creativity, and calm. Chronic scarcity-driven stress is like leaving a car engine running at full speed while parked. The fuel drains, the engine overheats, and eventually the machine breaks down. For people, this looks like constant fatigue, difficulty focusing, weakened immunity, and heightened risk of chronic illness. The irony is that the scarcity mindset, which clings to resources in fear of losing them, actually causes us to lose the most valuable resource we have: health. Mentally, scarcity narrows our focus until it becomes tunnel vision. Studies show that when people are worried about scarcity, whether of money, food, or time, their cognitive bandwidth shrinks. They become less able to solve problems, less creative, and more likely to make poor decisions. This mental drain has real consequences for productivity and well-being. Instead of using energy to build solutions or enjoy life, the brain spends it on looping worries. People replay what they lack, what they fear, and what they might lose. This endless cycle leaves them mentally exhausted, even if they haven't done much physical work. Scarcity thinking also disrupts sleep, one of the most crucial foundations of health. Anxiety about not having enough, whether money, success, or security, keeps the mind racing at night. Sleep becomes shallow or interrupted, and the body misses out on the deep rest needed for repair and restoration. Over time, sleep deprivation increases the risk of heart disease, diabetes, depression, and obesity. It weakens memory and concentration. Once again, scarcity thinking that was supposed to protect us from loss ends up robbing us of vitality. Physically, scarcity-driven stress leads many people into unhealthy coping habits. Some overeat to soothe anxiety, consuming more sugar and processed foods that temporarily comfort but ultimately deplete energy. Others overwork, pushing their bodies beyond healthy limits, convinced they must do more to keep up. Some isolate themselves, fearing they can't measure up, which damages mental health and social well-being. Scarcity pushes people into behaviors that drain energy rather than restore it, creating a cycle of depletion that can be hard to break. Scarcity also poisons relationships, which are a key component of health. Strong, supportive connections are proven to reduce stress, increase lifespan, and boost overall happiness. But scarcity makes us defensive and competitive. It convinces us to withhold kindness or to see others as threats. Instead of building trust, we keep score. Instead of enjoying connection, we worry about betrayal or loss. This guarded posture increases loneliness and isolation, which studies show are as damaging to health as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Scarcity thinking doesn't just drain our energy directly, It steals the relationships that could replenish us. On a deeper level, scarcity thinking keeps people trapped in survival mode, where the focus is only on short-term needs. This prevents long-term investment in health. For example, someone with a scarcity mindset might skip exercise because they feel they don't have time. They might avoid eating nutritious meals because it feels easier and cheaper to grab processed food. They may not seek preventive healthcare because they're too worried about the cost. In each case, scarcity thinking prioritizes immediate relief over long-term well-being, sacrificing health for temporary comfort. The result is predictable. Energy drains, illness rises, and the cycle continues. But it doesn't have to be this way. Just as scarcity drains energy, abundance thinking can restore it. Abundance is the belief that life holds enough opportunities, enough resources, and enough love. It doesn't deny challenges, but trusts that solutions and support exist. This mindset has profound effects on the body and mind. When we believe in sufficiency, the nervous system calms. Cortisol levels decrease, sleep improves, the immune system strengthens, creativity and focus return. Relationships deepen as trust replaces fear. In every way, abundance restores the energy scarcity drains. One practical shift is gratitude. Gratitude pulls the brain away from focusing on what is missing and redirects it toward what is present. Numerous studies show that gratitude reduces stress, improves sleep, lowers blood pressure, and increases resilience. By practicing gratitude daily, through journaling, reflection, or simple acknowledgement, you train the brain to live in abundance rather than scarcity. This small shift has enormous health benefits, replenishing both mental and physical energy. Another practical tool is mindfulness. Scarcity thrives on mental time travel, dragging us into worries about the future or regrets about the past. Mindfulness brings us into the present, where abundance can be found. Breathing exercises, meditation, or simply pausing to notice the moment reduces the grip of scarcity and recharges energy. When the mind is anchored in the present, the body can relax and healing can occur. Generosity is another powerful antidote. Scarcity tells us to hoard. Abundance invites us to share. Studies show that generous people experience less stress, lower blood pressure, and higher levels of happiness. Sharing time, resources, or encouragement creates a sense of flow. It shifts focus from what is missing to what is possible. In this flow, energy multiplies. The act of giving doesn't drain, it fuels. Self-compassion is also vital. Scarcity often whispers that you are not enough, that your efforts, your achievements, your very self are lacking. This internal criticism erodes confidence and fuels anxiety. Self-compassion, by contrast, restores energy by acknowledging imperfections while affirming worth. It gives the body and mind permission to rest, to heal, and to try again without judgment. This kindness toward yourself builds resilience and protects against burnout. Ultimately, the connection between scarcity and health is a call to reframe our approach to life. If we want to protect and restore our energy, we must confront scarcity thinking head-on. We must recognize its lies and choose instead the truth of abundance. This is not a denial of real challenges, financial hardship, illness, or stress. It is a refusal to let those challenges define our mindset. By cultivating gratitude, mindfulness, generosity, and self-compassion, we create an inner environment where health thrives. Health is wealth, and scarcity is one of its greatest thieves. Every day we have a choice, to live clenched in fear or to live open in trust. One drains us, the other restores us. One keeps us in survival mode, the other allows us to flourish. When we choose abundance, we discover that our energy doesn't come only from what we eat, drink, or do. It comes from how we think. And when our thinking shifts, so does our health. The barns of scarcity may be full but empty. The heart of abundance may give but is never drained. In abundance, we find the wealth of energy, peace, and joy that makes life truly rich. Scarcity thinking drains energy not only because of what it does to the body, but also because of how it alters the choices we make day after day. When we live with the belief that there is not enough, we unconsciously design a lifestyle that matches that belief. The tragedy is that this lifestyle keeps us tired, overwhelmed, and unhealthy, even when resources for greater well-being are within reach. To understand how deeply scarcity impacts health, it helps to look at how it plays out in everyday life, both mentally and physically, and then to explore the alternative, what abundance does to restore vitality. One of the most obvious ways scarcity harms health is through the way it manages time. People stuck in scarcity often believe they don't have enough time. They rush from one task to another, multitasking constantly, feeling guilty whenever they pause. Rest feels like a luxury they can't afford. But the human body is not designed to run without breaks. Chronic busyness triggers constant stress, which releases cortisol and adrenaline into the system. Over time, this leads to exhaustion, weight gain, weakened immunity, and even damage to the heart. In other words, the belief that there isn't enough time ironically steals the very energy that would allow us to use time well. Abundance thinking reframes time. Instead of saying, "I don't have enough," it says, "I can prioritize what matters." This shift reduces stress and preserves energy, creating space for rest and renewal. Scarcity also affects how people use food. Someone with a scarcity mindset might eat quickly, as though meals are simply fuel for the next obligation, or they may binge, hoarding food out of anxiety that there won't be enough later. Others might restrict themselves unnecessarily, worried about costs or appearances, which can lead to malnutrition. All of these patterns disrupt the natural rhythms of the body, draining energy. By contrast, abundance teaches mindful eating, slowing down, appreciating flavors, and trusting that food will be available when needed. This mindset not only improves digestion, but also turns meals into moments of restoration, fueling both body and mind. Another area impacted by scarcity is movement. People often avoid exercise because they think they don't have enough time, energy, or even self-worth. They tell themselves they'll work out once life is less stressful, once they feel more confident, or once they have more free hours. This thinking keeps them trapped in a cycle of inactivity and fatigue. Movement is one of the most powerful energy boosters available, yet scarcity convinces people to hoard energy by doing less, when the truth is that using energy through movement creates more energy in return. Abundance sees movement not as a drain but as a gift, a way of expressing gratitude for what the body can do. This shift opens the door to vitality instead of depletion. Scarcity also infects sleep. Many people lie awake at night replaying fears about bills, responsibilities, or failures. Others cut back on sleep because they think they must work harder, longer, or later to get ahead. This robs the body of the deep rest required to restore energy. Sleep deprivation creates a vicious cycle. Fatigue reduces productivity, mistakes increase, and stress builds, leading to even less rest. The scarcity mindset believes that sleeping less creates more time for success, but in reality, it drains energy and shortens lifespan. Abundance honors sleep as an investment, trusting that rest creates the clarity and strength needed for the next day. On a deeper level, scarcity erodes mental resilience. The constant worry about not having enough creates a background hum of stress that never fully shuts off. Over time, this erodes focus, memory, and creativity. The brain becomes consumed with survival, unable to see long-term possibilities. This is why people in scarcity often describe feeling foggy, stuck, or burned out. They may not realize it, but their mental energy is being siphoned off by endless loops of worry. Abundance restores this energy by opening the mental lens. Instead of obsessing over what's missing, the mind notices what is present, what is possible, and what can be created. This wider perspective allows creativity, problem-solving, and hope to flourish. Scarcity also has a social cost that directly impacts health. Relationships are one of the greatest sources of healing, energy, and resilience, but scarcity makes us defensive and guarded. If you believe there is not enough love, approval, or support, you may withdraw, compete, or withhold. This leads to isolation, and isolation is devastating for health. Loneliness increases the risk of early death, depression, and chronic illness. Abundance, on the other hand, invites sharing. It says there is enough love, enough kindness, enough connection to go around. This openness creates deeper relationships, which in turn provide support that strengthens health and restores energy. Another subtle but destructive effect of scarcity is the way it frames self-worth. When you constantly tell yourself you are not enough, you create an internal scarcity that drains energy before the day even begins. This inner critic consumes mental and emotional strength, leaving little left for creativity or joy. People living under this weight often push themselves relentlessly. trying to earn worth by overworking or overachieving. The result is exhaustion and burnout. Abundance flips this narrative. It says, I am already enough. I don't have to prove my worth through constant striving. This self-compassion conserves energy and makes room for healthier, more balanced choices. Scarcity thinking also drives people into unhealthy comparisons. The belief that others have more, so I must be less, creates envy and discouragement. Instead of focusing energy on growth, people waste it on measuring themselves against impossible standards. This drains motivation and increases stress. Abundance interrupts comparison by reminding us that success is not limited, that others' growth does not threaten ours. This mindset frees energy to focus on personal progress, leading to more sustainable well-being. The long-term impact of scarcity on physical health cannot be overstated. Chronic stress from scarcity contributes to high blood pressure, digestive issues, autoimmune diseases, and even cancer. The body was not designed to carry constant fear of lack. By contrast, abundance calms the nervous system. When the body feels safe, it can shift from survival mode to repair mode. This allows cells to regenerate, immunity to strengthen, and energy to build. Abundance is not just a psychological luxury, it is a biological necessity. So how do we move from scarcity to abundance when the pressures of life are real? The first step is awareness. Simply noticing when your thoughts are scarcity-based creates space to choose differently. Ask yourself, am I focusing on what's missing, or am I appreciating what's here? This question interrupts the automatic loop of scarcity and begins to rewire the brain for abundance. The second step is gratitude. Gratitude trains the mind to notice sufficiency. Start with 3 things each day that you are thankful for, however small. Over time, this practice shifts your baseline from lack to enough, and as gratitude grows, stress decreases and energy rises. The third step is generosity. Scarcity convinces us to hoard, abundance teaches us to share. Sharing time, resources, or encouragement breaks scarcity's grip. Even small acts of generosity create flow that restores joy and energy. The paradox of generosity is that giving doesn't deplete us, it multiplies us. The fourth step is self-compassion. Scarcity says, you're not enough. Abundance says, you are worthy as you are. Speaking kindly to yourself, allowing rest, and releasing perfectionism free up the energy that self-criticism drains. This shift nurtures both mental and physical health. The fifth step is trust. Scarcity is rooted in fear of the future. Trust reminds us that while the future is uncertain, we are capable of meeting it. Trust doesn't deny challenges, but affirms that resources, support, and creativity will be available when needed. Trust replaces the constant drain of fear with a steady flow of calm. Finally, abundance thrives on presence. Scarcity pulls us into regrets about the past or fears about the future. Abundance grounds us in the now. Practicing mindfulness through breathing, meditation, or simply paying attention restores energy by anchoring us in what is real and sufficient in this moment. The health benefits of shifting from scarcity to abundance are profound. People who practice abundance report lower stress, better sleep, stronger immunity, more resilient relationships, and greater overall happiness. Their energy is not wasted on fear, but invested in growth, creativity, and joy. They are not drained by the constant belief that nothing is enough. Instead, they are energized by the truth that life offers more than they often notice. Scarcity will always try to convince us that holding tighter protects us, but in reality it suffocates us. Abundance invites us to loosen our grip, to trust, to share, and to live. And in that openness, we discover energy we didn't know we had, health we didn't think we could restore, and joy we thought was beyond reach. Health is wealth, and one of the greatest ways to protect that wealth is to release scarcity thinking. By choosing abundance, you not only guard your physical body and mental peace, you also create the conditions to thrive. In abundance, you discover that energy is not just about what you consume or what you do. It is about how you think, how you trust, and how you live. And when your mindset shifts, your health and energy rise to match it. Scarcity thinking is like a quiet thief, stealing vitality little by little until you forget what it feels like to live with real energy. You may not notice it at first. It hides in the background of your thoughts. I don't have enough time. I'll never have enough money. I'm not enough compared to others. These messages loop endlessly, creating tension in your body, worry in your mind, and heaviness in your spirit. Over time, this constant pressure wears you down, leaving you tired, anxious, and fragile. What you may not realize is that scarcity isn't just a way of thinking, it is a drain on your health. It pulls from your reserves until both your body and mind are running on empty. But when you step into abundance, everything changes. Abundance doesn't mean you suddenly have unlimited resources. It means you choose to believe in sufficiency rather than deficiency, in trust rather than fear, in flow rather than stagnation. Abundance rewires the body's stress response. It tells the nervous system, you are safe, you have enough, you can rest. With that reassurance, the body stops burning energy on hypervigilance and begins restoring it through healing, sleep, and peace. Abundance releases a flood of vitality, not because external circumstances have changed, but because your internal world has shifted. Consider how abundance affects your mornings. Scarcity wakes you up with dread, replaying what's missing, what's late, or what might go wrong. Abundance wakes you with gratitude, noticing even the simplest blessings. Breath in your lungs, light in your window, the chance to live another day. That shift changes the chemistry of your body. Gratitude lowers cortisol, increases serotonin, and sets the stage for energy instead of exhaustion. By simply choosing abundance as a lens, you start your day richer in strength and calmer in spirit. Abundance also changes how you handle challenges. Scarcity turns every obstacle into a crisis. This is proof I'll never have enough. It creates panic, which drains energy and clouds judgment. Abundance acknowledges the challenge but reframes it. This is hard, but I have resources. I can learn, I can adapt. That mindset conserves energy because it keeps you calm and solution-oriented. Instead of burning out in fear, you move forward with clarity. Over time, this not only preserves health but strengthens resilience, giving you more energy for future challenges. Relationships reveal the difference most clearly. Scarcity makes you hoard affection, forgiveness, or time because you fear being taken advantage of. It drains energy by keeping you guarded, suspicious, and calculating. Abundance invites you to share love freely, to forgive generously, and to give without keeping score. This openness restores energy because it creates connection. Supportive relationships are one of the strongest predictors of health, and abundance builds them naturally. By giving, you actually gain. Your energy multiplies through joy, laughter, and companionship that scarcity could never allow. In finances, scarcity creates chronic stress. The thought of never having enough money keeps the body in constant fight or flight mode. Even when bills are paid, the fear lingers, draining energy like a leaking faucet. Abundance reframes money as a tool rather than a threat. It says, I trust my ability to manage. I trust opportunities to appear. I trust that sharing doesn't deplete me, it frees me. This trust shifts the nervous system from panic to peace, conserving the energy that fear would have burned. Abundance doesn't deny the need for budgeting or planning. It empowers those practices with calm clarity, turning money management into a source of stability rather than stress. The physical body responds dramatically to this shift. Scarcity increases blood pressure, disrupts digestion, and weakens the immune system. Abundance lowers stress markers, improves sleep, and increases resilience. People who live with an abundant mindset often report having more energy, not because their lives are easier, but because their stress doesn't drain them. Their bodies aren't constantly preparing for disaster. They are free to repair, create, and thrive. One of the greatest gifts of abundance is the return of joy. Scarcity postpones joy, saying, I'll be happy when I have more. But that day rarely comes, so joy is always out of reach. Abundance finds joy now. It says, I already have enough to be grateful for. I can celebrate today. This choice shifts your energy immediately. Joy is not only emotional, it is physiological. It releases endorphins, strengthens the heart, and boosts immunity. In short, joy gives energy back to the body. Abundance allows joy to be daily, not distant. But here is the critical truth: abundance must be practiced. Scarcity is loud and relentless, reinforced by culture, media, and comparison. To live abundantly, you must choose it intentionally. Begin with gratitude. Each day, list 3 things you already have that are good. This simple act rewires your brain to notice sufficiency. Next, practice generosity. Share something, your time, your attention, your money, without expecting return. This action breaks scarcity's grip and creates flow. Finally, practice presence. Scarcity drags you into the future with worry or into the past with regret. Abundance anchors you here, where life actually happens, where energy can be restored. Over time, these practices create a new rhythm. You find yourself less anxious, less tired, less reactive. You notice more beauty, more connection, more possibility. Your body feels lighter, your mind feels clearer, and your heart feels freer. Scarcity has less control because abundance has become your default. And with that shift, you discover a wealth of health you didn't realize you had lost. The conclusion is simple but powerful. Scarcity drains, abundance restores. Scarcity steals sleep, joy, relationships, and energy. Abundance gives peace, resilience, vitality, and joy. Health truly is wealth, and the way we think determines how much of that wealth we keep. Scarcity leaves us bankrupt in body and spirit. Abundance leaves us rich in energy, connection, and life itself. And here is the call to action. Stop letting scarcity steal your energy. Begin today by practicing abundance in small, intentional ways. Write down what you are grateful for. Share something freely. Breathe deeply and notice the moment you're in. Each act is a deposit into your health bank, building wealth that cannot be stolen. If this message resonates with you, join us at Think Fresh Daily. Subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who needs encouragement, and become part of a community choosing abundance over scarcity. Together, we can reclaim energy, restore health, and rediscover the joy of living fully. Because health is wealth, and the richest life is the one lived abundantly.